Charlie Chaplin launches his final film. United States, Soviet Union, and the UK signed Outer Space Treaty, which prohibited weapons of mass destruction being launched from space. The year is 1967, and this Oldsmobile Delta 88 could be bought new at your local Oldsmobile dealer. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that talks about the history and design and specs of these rolling works of art. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics, lots of orphan cars, and cars that are frankly being forgotten. We dive in deep with specs, period, ads, button switches, and knobs. And most importantly, we show what these cars are like. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 belongs to a good friend of mine, Bob, but if the price is right, this isn't that show. If the price is right, it could be yours because it is currently for sale at Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania, with over 850 cars for sale when recording this episode. Anybody can go there. It doesn't cost a dime to get in. For more information, pricing, and pictures pertaining to this very car, be sure to click the link below after the show. 1967 Oldsmobile model lineup. These aren't in any particular order. F85. Cutlass 442, Delmont 88, Delta 88, 98, Tornado, and wagons. Oldsmobile offered the Delta 88 that's a bit tricky. Oldsmobile produced the 88 from 1949 to 1999, but the Delta 88 was produced from 1965 to 1988, or somewhere around in there. The Delta name came in 1965, and it was an upscale trim line of the Dynamic 88, also called Dynamic 88 Delta, replacing the previous top series B-body Oldsmobile Super 88. After taking a step back, Oldsmobile decided to just go with Delta 88 instead of Dynamic 88, Dynamic 88 Delta. It would get very, very confusing. It's worth mentioning that Oldsmobile would run the 88 line until the brand was discontinued. 9 generations. 1967 falls in the 6th generation, which had a production run from 1965 to 1970, built on the GM B-body platform. Could be had as a 2-door holiday hardtop, 4-door town sedan, 4-door holiday hardtop, and 2-door convertible. 1967 all GM full-size cars received a mild cycle refreshing with fuller body panels, 66 on top, 67 on the bottom. Starting in the front, just look at how different and yet similar everything looks. The front grille / front fascia is completely different between these two cars. Both have quad headlights. Lights are spaced further apart on the 67. Middle comes to a point on the 67. 66 has reflectors and or cornering lights not found on the 67. Moving to the side profile, just look at how curvy the 67 looks in comparison to the 66. Side mirrors go from rectangular on the 66 to circular on the 67. Side molding is way, way thicker on the 67, especially around the wheel wells. Delta 88 script was moved from the front fenders on the 66 to the rear quarter on the 67. Moving to the rear bumpers are totally different. Different trunk lid profiles. Tail lights are very interesting on the 67. Vertical backup lights on the 67 versus horizontal backup lights on the 66. Moving inside to the dash / binnacle display, 2 totally different dash designs. Which one do you like better in the comment section below? Let's talk specs. 217 inches long, 80 inches wide, 55.5 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 123 inches. It weighs 3,910 pounds. Price $3,645, which is equivalent to you spending $33,297.07 the year 2023. Total 1967 Oldsmobile production was 548,390 units, of which Delta 88 was 87,595 units, and of that number, 14,471 were convertibles. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer, 425 cubic inch displacement V8, 7 liters. It's good for 300 brake horsepower, 4,800 RPM, 430 pound-feet of torque at 2,400 RPM. With a bore of 4.1 inches and a stroke of 4 inches, compression is 9-to-1. 5 main bearings when backed with a 3-speed manual transmission. 0 to 60 could be had in 7.7 seconds. Theoretical top speed 121 miles per hour. It'll do the quarter mile in 16.1 seconds. Average fuel economy is anywhere between 11.7 and 14 miles to the gallon. Let's talk chassis. Nickel-plated bumpers. So when I'm going around saying that it's stainless steel or chrome or whatever, it's nickel-plated according to the brochure. But just read a little bit further and you come to find out the moldings are chrome, except on the convertibles. Curved glass, sealed headlights, self-tightening hood latch, full fiberglass hood insulation. Brakes are 11-inch in diameter drums, but they're self-adjusting. Front suspension, pivot poise, ball joint front suspension with stabilizer bar. Rear suspension, twin triangle. Rear suspension with deep coil springs at all 4 wheels. Direct acting shock absorbers. Let's talk styling. Just look at how much these things protrude. I don't know what you'd call these, like fenders, I guess, but they're very intrusive. Nice point here. I love that, how it has that cross, like almost like gun sight. Also, just notice how far these headlights sit back inside the bezels. Grille is very petite on this car. It's only right here in the beak. Looking at the top, comes to a nice beak here, center point. Also notice how this is tiered up in the center, or less like a bulge. Coming down the sides, how these bumpers are designed. Look at how absolutely thick this fender molding is. Also how flared the wheel wells are. Look at how this bevels down. It's got nice molding on the rocker. Look at how aggressive these fender flares are in the rear. Look at these taillights. Look at the angle in which they are positioned inside the rear fascia. How this is all channeled out. Look how smooth these bumpers are. Backup lights, the Oldsmobile badge there. Nice smooth trunk lid, no center line. Mirror placement, mirrors located on the driver's side door. Getting inside, this door's got some heft to it. Look at all of the materials used. It feels like a vinyl material. Armrest as well as door handle to pull the door shut. This is the door handle to get out. Window crank for the vent window. This is the toggle style joystick to control the mirror. And that's how the window operates, with the window crank at the bottom for the big window. This car is parked too close to this Corvette for me to try to get in the back. So we're going to show how the window operates from here. So this is the rear window. And look at it, like almost does like a complete rotation before it goes up. How cool is that? In the rear, there are creature comforts such as a light so you can see to get in, ashtray, as well as armrest. There aren't any coat hooks because it's a convertible. There isn't a dome light in the center either because same reason, convertible. Here's what over the hood looks like. Here's what first person over the hood looks like. Underneath, there is adequate space to put your hand in between the steering wheel and your lap. The whole reason I show that is because some cars don't have tilt wheel and the seats don't move up or down, so you'll just be riding with a steering wheel in your crotch. There are cars like that. Even if you were size 36, you won't fit into proper. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Headlights, windshield wipers, power convertible top. 3 pods sit directly in front of the driver. In the very first pod on the left-hand side, gasoline gauge at the top. The rest are idiot lights. Cold coolant temperature generator. Brake, oil pressure. Hot coolant temperature. Speedometer in the center with odometer right below it in the same gauge pod. Tachometer. It looks to be like a clock in the center of the tach, but I've been wrong before. Drive modes, read, park, reverse, neutral, drive, super, and low. Fan speed, heat, and ventilation controls. This car has AC, ignition, lighter, ashtray, radio, which has an AM FM radio, pretty big deal. Up above, there are sun visors. They look like this, and it has this cutout for the rear view mirror. Here's the other sun visor on the passenger side, and that one has a vanity mirror attached to it. Nice cutout for the rear view mirror. This one does have a center armrest, which you could use as an armrest or you could use it as a seat. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. And it shuts. Here's the ashtray. Getting under the hood release is like this tongue looking thing that sticks out right down here. So that releases it, and there's a secondary catch. Okay, so there isn't a secondary catch. It's all just that one lever. You just got to make sure that you pull it up far enough. Battery up front, dual horns located right here in the nose. Radiator underneath this nice protective cover as well as shroud. This car has an alternator, a power brakes with dual master cylinder, Super Rocket 88, air conditioning. It even has the hood insulator. On the positive side, powerful, comfortable, definitely different than your typical Mustang Camaro Firebird. In my opinion, these are underrated, underappreciated, and that could be honestly said for just about any full-sized Oldsmobile car from the mid-60s. I didn't get to drive this one, but I did get to drive an earlier Starfire. If this rides anything like that, it's smooth as silk. Camera fits in the glove box. Against it, it's a huge car. The fender spears, I don't know what they're called. That's what I'm calling them. In the front would be a concern when parking this in a tight parking lot. Just think about hitting like a smart car or a Prius with one of those. It would do some damage. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather 2 scenarios today. Would you rather have a 1967 Mercury Monterey or a 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 or 1967 Chrysler Newport? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. Moving on to the second scenario. This is the outside the box situation. 1967 AMC Marlin or 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 or 1967 Dodge Charger. Going to leave this here again for another minute. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. Going to name that tune. First person to get both the name of the band and song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. We have a Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. I call it the After Party. If you want more car community, that will be linked in the description below as well. It's a good place to share stories and stuff like that. Lots of memories on there. It's a really cool thing. If you'd like to check it out, link will be in the description. If you don't have Facebook and would like to reach me, send me an email. All of that will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate all the support. And until next time, toodaloo! Funny random story. So when a group of tourists visited a crocodile farm, the owner of the place launched a very bold proposal. Whoever dares to swim to the shore and survive, I will personally give you $1 million. No one ever dared to move. Suddenly, a man jumped into the water and he desperately swam and made it to the shore while being chased by hundreds of crocodiles. The owner announced, "We have a brave winner." After the man collected his reward, he and his wife returned to the hotel. Upon arrival, the manager told him that he was very brave to jump. To which the man replied, "I didn't jump, somebody pushed me," and his wife smiled. The moral of the story is, behind every successful man, there is a woman who pushes him.